You're listening to One Third Life podcast.
Hi Anurag.
Hi.
I read your article on your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So, for the viewers who did not read the article, can you summarize a little bit on that?
Yeah, so the article is all about career management. It is about how do you manage a career and what are the intricacies of it. Usually, what happens is people think that a career is luck, it's by chance. You have to be at the right place at the right time to do things, but that's not really true. You can build your career, you can plan for it, you can strategize for it, which in my experience, quite a few don't do. I get so many requests every day asking me, "Can you help me with the career roadmap? Can you help me, decide something?
Mm.
Can you help me, coach me on on the career, on which direction should I take?" And it's not only the young generation, or it's not very much about which part, which stage of career you are, but it's across.
Hmm.
So which tells me that, and to be honest, I was also like that. I For a few years I didn't even understand which direction to take, and that is what I've been observing now, and which all the requests that are coming to me, it's an area that requires a little bit of focus, and that is the reason why I went in and wrote this article
Hmm.
to start with. Of course, it's not as easy as learning from the article and putting everything done, but then it's also starting to think and putting your mindset around it. So
Also,
that's the
implementing it
yeah,
throughout
exactly.
your
So
life.
that you need to understand the process. You
Hmm.
need to understand what kind of career do I need to build. There are things like career strategy. There are things like career assets. People don't understand this. The mindset is about, let me go do my work and something will happen after a few years. Otherwise, I'll change my job.
Hmm.
But that's not exactly how it works. It's a much more nuanced subject, and people need to understand it. So I haven't seen much outside. There are a lot of things about how you need to behave in your as a leader. What is the requirements for a leader,
Hmm.
but a holistic view of what a career looks like is not there yet,
Okay.
and a lot of people don't understand it. So the idea of this article, it's a very small effort in terms of getting people to understand what it is, but that's the way I wanted to just bring it up. It's not a large article, it's a 900 words article,
Hmm.
but I've tried to summarize everything there. So
Hmm.
that's the purpose of that one.
Looking back at your own journey, or when you mentored someone else,
Mhm.
how did you or someone else realize that climbing that ladder is really an outdated myth?
Yes. Yeah. So so first of all, every career journey is different. A career journey for you
Hmm.
versus your colleague is going to be very different,
100%.
right? So you cannot generalize from an individual career point of view, but there are certain overarching areas which are pretty much standard. So for example, a career journey is, you can divide it into three parts. So one is the early career, the mid career, and the senior.
Yes.
So requirements in all of them. And when I looked at, and to be honest, some in the initial years I didn't have that view.
Hmm.
Now when we have had these discussions with people across all, they had this aha moment when I talked to guys and said, this is how it looks like, and this is what you need to do to transition from this to this.
Hmm.
There is a sudden change in people's eyes.
The
Let me
way
put
they
it this.
see the career
Yeah, and
itself.
this has been constantly all the time that I have these discussions.
Hmm.
So it's very simple, right? You have an early career, and there are certain requirements during that early career days. Then there's mid career, where the requirements completely change from what is expected out of you in the early days. I equate it to a person who's starting who's in kindergarten, and a person who's in college. A person who was in kindergarten is not the same person who's
Someone
now
who's in
in a
college.
college, right,
Hmm.
or as a professional.
Hmm.
So same goes with your career. It also
Okay.
goes through that growth phase and understanding, and so that is how.
So, in your article, you have boldly mentioned that company taking care of your career is a highly misconception.
Yes.
Um, So, why do you think we as a people fall into this trap of like hubris or just comfort instead of just planning for ourselves?
Yeah, yeah, that's the biggest misconception. And so your career is your responsibility, nobody else's responsibility. But what happens is while they are doing a particular work, they get these feelers from the organization, their colleagues, their bosses, that you're doing a great job, right? That takes you in a comfort zone. Oh, I'm doing very good in my career.
Hmm.
So those proof points kind of tell them. But if you look at it from an organizational point of view, the organization says you're doing good when it is when it is giving benefit to the organization. They're not saying it because it's giving a benefit to you. That's for you to decide whether it's
Whether it's
benefit
beneficial
is
or
to
not.
me or not. So that's why I say that. So and that is what is considered for most of people. They think that if the organization is giving me good feedbacks, I'm doing great.
Okay.
And then they get into that comfort zone and they get into this hubris of saying I'm so great because I'm the top performer in this organization. The situations can change pretty drastically, pretty quick.
Also, do you think it'll impact their quality of like work? Because they're always chasing to be better, to be uh,
Yes,
like you want to be appreciated by the company.
yes.
So
I think it's important, and that is where which we'll talk about is the career strategy. When you are building your plan, which is independent of an organization, what you really want to do, where do you want to reach? It could be the same organization.
Mm.
I have worked in one organization for 20 years, primarily because it was meeting my expectations and things that I needed to do. It was constantly doing, but the moment it stopped doing that, I changed, and
Mm.
that was after 20 years.
How do you know that you have to quit?
How do I know if I have to quit?
Yeah.
So it's not a decision that is done overnight.
No, I meant like, okay, I've come to this organization, I'm doing my work, but then I've done my best.
Hmm.
I've reached that level.
Yes.
Now I have to quit that and just move on to another one because I know for sure you'll have that comfort of like being in that place and working the same thing for years. Now you're bored, but you want to quit, but then you're also comfortable. So how do you know that you have to like break the pattern and move on to the next level of your career?
No. So quitting is not the decision that you take early enough and say, now I want to quit.
Yeah.
A lot of people have this tendency to say, 3 years in this organization, let me quit now. It is very strange, especially in the software industry now, what we are used to see now, and it's come down a little bit these days. But people used to say, 3 years, it's time for me to move. And that was the reason, without any rhyme and reason, they were doing it. Even if they're doing it good in this organization, they're learning new things. Just this thing about I'm doing, I've done 3 years, now I need to change. It is okay to do that in initial years when you're in your earlier career, which is the first 8 to 10 year, first maybe even first 5 6 years. It's all right because you are exploring yourself. You're exploring your interests, your. But once you reach a certain level, you need to be stable to build your capabilities, your presence, the
So
one thing
it's
that
not technical anymore.
no, it's not technical anymore. It's it also tells other people that how. So when I see a CV, for example, I look at how long a person has spent in one organization. For
Okay.
some people, spending 15 years in an organization is a no-no. They think it's stopped, but that's not true. There are people who have built careers being long time in an organization, and you need to figure out that, right? So it's not a question of how long you're in an organization, whether you should quit when your own purpose that you have been creating your career, then it works. But it should not
Okay.
be the reason to quit just because of that.
Just because you have certain experience in the company. It's
Yes,
also about your
yeah.
personal
It's
like.
also about once you know what you plan to do, what are your things that you want to build in, then you will work towards it within the organization. It's easier to get experience within an organization. Of course, it has to be a large organization where you can do multiple things than going out and trying to. Because people who give you a job outside of your organization are giving you a job for what you have done.
But what if an organization is not letting you to level up?
then obviously there is.
Okay, obviously quit.
So there's no hard and fast rule of that you should quit and you should not quit. It's idea about the organization is also letting you do that, and a lot of it initiative comes from you. I think no organization will tell you that if I'm going to take this initiative, this will benefit the organization. No organization will say no, don't do this. It doesn't matter whether it will benefit or not. And how do you also build that credibility that you're going to get something done? So
Previously, I asked you something about career ladder being an outdated myth. So
yeah,
what?
I think I missed that one.
Hmm.
Yes, so the career ladder is about I need to do this for 3 years, then I'll get a promotion, I'll get a designation, I'll move on. That concept is more or less going away these days, primarily because designations have a value. They just keep you, people know what you're doing. But in terms of learning, they don't have that much value. I mean, today, if you go to certain banks, the entry level position is a vice president, vice president, or associate vice president. And people, there were organizations who say, give you a card and say, put the designation that you want to put on it.
I see.
Right? Some of the organizations are like that. But the fact is that it's not the ladder, the organization ladder that you want to build. It's your own personal ladder that you want to climb.
Okay.
Which can be very different from an organizational traditional ladder, that I'll become a manager, I'll be an assistant manager, I'll become manager, I'll be a deputy GM, I'll be a general manager, and and those have a different. Let's say a GM in a company is not same as a GM in another company.
True.
So having that designations don't matter. It's the content of the work that you're doing is more important, and that's what the concept is. Is changing a little bit. People are starting to understand. Designations are good just for external world, but for your own good, it's better not to.
But in your CV, they do see your designation first.
They do. The external world does see your CV, just see your designation, but it gives them an idea of what level of organization you are in an industry.
Okay.
Because there is certain designations within an industry that are prevalent, right? But it's not. It gives you if your designation gives you the content of work, that is more important.
Okay.
Let's say you're a vice president, sales, right? Sales is the more important part, not the vice president, right? So how good are you? You'll be tested out not on your designation. You'll be tested on how good. What have you done as a sales?
What is your work output?
Yes. So that's what I'm saying.
So let's just wind back a little bit and talk about the politics in an organization. So I remember one particular story that you told me where you were working in a certain company and you were very close to being a board of director. So because of some politics over there, you couldn't reach that level.
I was not close to being a board of director. I was close to the board.
You were close to the board. Okay.
So
how do you escape politics in an organization?
So the thing is, you can't escape. Whenever an organization becomes from 1% to 2% or 3%, the politics starts. Right. So you can't escape it. What you can do, but again, the politics, in my view, is not a bad. Politics is politics. It could be bad or good, both. When it is being done for the betterment of the organization or people, it's a good politics. When it's being done to bring people down, or that's a bad politics. Politics. Other problem with politics is if it works for you, it's that I'm a good performer.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work for me, it's a bad politics. The topic of politics is something that you need to understand and learn about it. You don't need to play it, but you need to know, or you don't need to play dirty politics. But a lot of time, politics is needed to put your views across. How do you network with people? How do you put your ideas across so that people listen to you, right? Because you do also want to do something good for the organization, so you need 100%. To understand this. Who's the person who's the decision maker? So all those things you need to understand, and that's part of senior management roles. And when the moment you move from mid-career to senior career, that's where the politics becomes a lot more critical topic to learn than at early age. It's probably not that much, but it's good to know that. It's good to be aware of it.
Okay.
rather than you have to play for it, right?
Mm. We often hear people say they got lucky in their career, but you argue that luck is just you being prepared for that window of opportunity, right? So, what does preparation look like on a Tuesday afternoon when you are not even looking for a job?
So, so that's true. And people say we're lucky, but there are constant opportunities all around you. That's my thinking. I have things for abundance, right? So there are opportunities all the time. It's just that, are you ready for it? So some people get a lucky break, but they are prepared for it. They may or may not know it, but they got that break because they were ready for it. So you cannot control that environment where that luck happens. You cannot control one of your bosses leaving suddenly, right? But what you can control is being ready for it when that opportunity comes.
Right.
Right. So that is what being ready for those opportunities mean. So you have to constantly work on yourself to take the next level. What do I need to do now that I'll be prepared for when the next level opportunity comes?
Okay, when we say prepared, what is preparation?
Yeah. So what you said, ask me, what does a Tuesday afternoon look
Yeah.
like? I think it's a constant. So yes, you need to do your job that has been given to you, and you have to do it well, because if you don't perform well anyway, everything else doesn't matter. Performance is an entry ticket. What it means really is you are constantly evaluating what you're doing, what is the impact that is creating on the organization from a business point of view. It also means that you have to constantly assess, even if it's a Tuesday afternoon, you're saying that this is I'm doing is valuable for the organization in such and such way, because it's making the organization efficient, profitable, or whatever. So that understanding of that business impact of your work, that makes a difference.
So is micro learning a thing when it comes to this preparation?
And then let's talk about the concept of career assets.
Right.
I've talked about career assets as well. So career assets are some of the things that you are doing as an assignments in your organization, which have a overall value, which you can say, okay, I did this, and this was the impact. So it's a storytelling for outside the world, for the outside world, right? I built up this team, and we built up the whole, a new product which went to the market and had a traction over next 5 years, and we built our revenues from. That's a story. That's an asset.
Right.
And if you are leading that, that's an asset that you have created. It doesn't matter which organization. It can be the same. All 5 assets could be in the same organization, but that is what you need to constantly focus on.
Focus on and curate the portfolio.
Yes, your portfolio of assets, which I call the career assets, because those are the stories that you're going to tell the interviewer when you are giving the next interview.
Right.
Right. Or that you're going to give. When I say interview, it doesn't mean another organization. It could be the same organization as well. So that's the story that you're giving to them, saying, okay, I'm ready for the next step. These are the things I did, and these are in line with what you need the next person to be doing. Right. So that's what I call the career assets. So that's what you will be focusing on.
In your article, you have mentioned the career management framework.
Yeah.
The first step in that is career exploration. Can you elaborate a little on that?
Yeah. So first of all, the framework itself is not something that I created. It's a result of a lot of research that has been already done. The first step is exploration. So whenever you are building your career or you're designing your career, first, it doesn't have to be for next 50 years. It can be for next 2 to 3 years as well, right? Or even 1 year, 2 years. And this is what my goals are for next 3 years. This is what I'm doing. So exploration is about figuring out what I'm doing right now, and what does it mean? What are the different, if I do this, what are the different other avenues that get opened because of that? It is also about how's what I'm doing today relevant for the larger macroeconomic situation. So you don't need to understand the full macroeconomics, but you understand the impact of what you're doing on the overall, either the organization, or how is it taken with because every job has a relevance attached to it, right? How is it relevant for you? So that is what an exploration is about. Then there is other things about you do the exploration, you do the goal setting, you do the strategy development, you do the strategy implementation, and then you review your goals, right? So that's what the whole framework is, and that's a very standard research framework that has been created for a career management. So I should share some more details in the article, but
So you mentioned that planning for 30 years ahead is so unfeasible in today's world.
yes.
So for someone who is 25-year-old listener, feeling this overwhelming pressure of like, figuring it all out, what is your advice for them?
So yeah, it's we did one podcast on that one as well, 30 under
Yes,
30, right? So from a career point of view, you don't need to look at 30 years,
right.
primarily because you don't know what's going to happen in 30 years.
Hmm.
We didn't know what happened 30 years back, right? 30 years back, I had no clue I'll
Hmm.
be sitting here and giving a podcast.
Podcast
Podcast was not even a term
thing.
that was done
Yeah.
30 years back,
Hmm.
right? So the idea for a 25-year-old is first that they need to understand either they're in college or they're studying or they're right now, but they are ready for the career, right? Whether it's a self career, whether it's an entrepreneur or it's going to be an organization that they're going to work for. There are certain the first 10 year of your work life is all about exploration.
Right.
So you
So
have been
that creates an awareness.
you need to know what is right for me, what do I like. Some people like designing, others
Right.
don't.
Hmm.
Others are very good at sales.
Sales.
They enjoy doing sales, meeting people and talking and selling their ideas. There are other people who like implementation, so they are happy executing what is there. There are other people who like HR, the
Hmm.
people who like finance, they like play with numbers. Some others want to make a strategies and those. So you spend those first few years exploring yourself, what you like, what you don't like,
Right.
right? And that is good enough to start with.
Hmm.
So any 25-year-old is what they should do for next 3 years.
It's just explore.
Explore, learn, understand what a work ethics looks like,
Right.
and that's very important in today's work. The ethics are important, which for some reason is missing with a lot of living
Hmm.
with a lot of younger generation now.
Mhm.
How do you communicate? How do you talk to people? How do
Yes.
you deal with do you create networks? How do do things?
Yeah, how do you? Like you kept saying, how do you network? How do you communicate? But how do you do that?
You learn
How
it
do
on the
you
job.
learn that?
You do it and learn it. You see what works, what doesn't work.
Hmm.
Just take that. Be honest enough to take the feedback.
Right.
Right? People might do it. Some people can do it aggressively. Some people don't do it aggressively.
Hmm.
But you will, if your ears are open and your mind is open, you will get that feedback.
So put yourself out there.
Put yourself out there, see what works, see what doesn't work for you,
Hmm.
for others, and then you start building it up. You're building up your own.
So we should not be stuck in that routine of like wake up, go work,
You
come
don't even
back.
go to work these days. You are you're in front of computer taking calls, pure calls. But
It's true.
so but the point is that go out, talk
Hmm.
to people. It doesn't have to be always about work. It has to be also about things that other things out there. So yeah, I think that is the important part for a 25. Explore and do what you're doing. Be sensible. Use your common sense.
Yeah.
And be aware of people. It's what you do impacts other people that you need to be aware of.
Hmm.
Right? If you don't call somebody,
So make yourself a fool in order for you to understand better.
people don't call you fool.
No,
You yourself call yourself a fool.
exactly.
They're
Like
not really.
we are our own critics, right?
Yes. So it's nobody will call you a fool. They say, oh, she didn't do it. No, we understand that you're exploring. You're at a stage where you're learning.
Hmm.
So that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
So you're your own critic. So in your eyes, if you're a fool, it's fine.
Yes.
Nobody is judging you. Just so let's move on to strategic development model that you have mentioned in your career. One of the strategy is called protein career.
Yeah.
So
it's called the pro. It's a career strategy development model called Protean. Protein is based on Proteus, the god,
Hmm.
who's constantly
Shape
changing
shifting.
shapes. Yeah,
Okay.
shape shifting. So some people have that natural thing about building their careers around different kinds of responsibilities, and they change with time,
Hmm.
right? So they might change the industry sector. They might change from, let's say, doing an operational role to a sales role to a strategy role. So that's one of the model that we have. But then there are others who like to build portfolio, like a Lego. It's a Lego model. So they have different parts of the portfolio. They will do big work. They will do. There's also slash careers that they will do. That they will do one plus they will do another one in the second. Maybe another 4 hours of the day, which two of them are completely not related.
Hmm.
So you might have a lawyer who's interested in theaters,
Uh,
right? So that's called a slash career.
so one being putting a food on your table, the other
Yes, other
being
is your food in your mind.
passion. Yeah,
Yeah,
food for
passion.
your
Yeah,
mind. Yeah,
food for your mind. Maybe
love
sometimes
that.
because you need to put the food on the table. So sometimes you have to do jobs which you are not really very happy about, but you have to do it because that's what is giving you.
But there are also someone like Pratik Kumar. We had a podcast
Yes,
on with him. There are somebody who chases passion.
yes, and that's the second model which I have mentioned, where people say that okay, I'll do my job, I
Hmm.
want to do it, but all other things are also important for me.
Right.
What I think as what it has to be, my work life balance, my passion, my interest, my personal interest. It was his personal interest that got him into
Right.
that, right? Yeah, so that's not a shapeshifter, but it's designing your career based on your personal interests
Right.
rather than based on the interests of the rest of the world. So that's the difference. But these are all models that you can create for yourself and say, this is what I like. And that comes when you know yourself well. So you have to explore yourself, you have to do your goal setting, and then that strategy will come through.
So
And
it
so,
always goes back to this foundation exploring.
yes, knowing yourself and exploring yourself. You
Right.
need to know yourself, and that's one of the most difficult things that people are very judgmental about others, but they don't know themselves a lot of time.
100%.
Yes, so
Yeah.
that's the first step. Usually, when I do my coaching assignments, I usually get to ask the people to understand who they are,
Right.
what makes them tick. If you know that, then the rest is easy. So relatively easy, let's say. Right?
If someone is in a very niche technical skills right now, how do they develop this universal skills?
Yeah. So let me just first explain what universal skills are.
Right.
So you might be in an industry,
Hmm.
but there are certain skills which are universal across industries. Let's take it, for example, sales skills. They are, of course, industry specific because you need to know the details and the technical side. But then they are the same skills can be ported into any other industry. So sales in software can be ported into sales in AI, for example, or sales in data. If you're a project manager, you can move from a software project to an infrastructure project. Yes, it will be a learning curve for there, but it will not be too. So when somebody is on a technical skill, they need to first figure out which universal skill that they have, which is relevant outside their organization. So the first thing is to check if I'm doing something. Software development is also a universal skill,
Hmm.
right? It's just that what kind of application you're building, what kind of language you're using, that's more specific.
Right.
Because a company which is working in fintech will have finance related modules created, app created, but you're still a software developer.
Hmm.
Like tomorrow, if we put you in any other software development work, application work, you probably will be still able to do it. You may not have the domain expertise, but you might still be able to do it with the help of a domain expert,
Right.
right? So those are the skills.
So you have a great rule of thumb, which is renew your CV every 6 months. So
Yes.
why do you say that?
So I say that if you have nothing new to add in your CV in
Mm.
6 months, there's something not right. You're stagnating.
Mm.
If you are in a mindset of building your career and building the career assets as I talk about, they have to be constant efforts from your side to build those
Right.
assets. If you're not building those assets, then you're sitting back and letting rest of the world run you. You're sleepwalking through your career.
Right.
It could be anything. It could be a new project, it could be a new location, it could be a new initiative, it could be anything, but something new which has not been added in the CV till now. So that is what I say. So that's the biggest indicator of how you're doing. There are people who said, I haven't made a CV in last 10 years. I said, wow. Okay.
I'm shook.
No, there are people who say, I haven't made a CV in last year because I don't need to. I get my jobs. But I said, it's not about others. It's about you. What kind of things you.
I like how you said
Yeah.
sleepwalking your work.
Yes, you're sleepwalking through your career, basically, which unfortunately. So yeah, so do that, and I think that's where the important part is.
So the summary is renew your CV every 6 months.
Yeah,
Add
CV
something
renewing
new.
the CV is just an indicator. The summary is that build your assets.
Build your assets.
Build your career assets, because
Right.
that's the one that will take you a long way.
Right.
Both in terms of understanding yourself and also showcasing what you're doing. Right. So
the last thing that you talked about in your article is find a good mentor or a coach for your career. Is it best to have a mentor or a coach, or get into an online learning space?
Online learning space has its own value. Right. But when you are working with a coach or a guide or a mentor, what you're doing is, because as I said, every career journey is different. What applies to you doesn't apply for the second one. An online course is generic. You learn the same things that the other person learns, right? And it doesn't mean that online courses don't need to be done. They need to be done. Even your coach might tell you to do sometimes. But what the coach works with you is, so one, the coach is not telling you what to do.
Right.
They're asking you questions. They're questioning what you're doing. They're helping you figure out yourself. I mean, they cannot tell you what to do, because then it's not yours. It's somebody else's, right? Thought. So you have to own what you want to do. So the coach is needed to do that. People, and they also then bring that experience, right? So they have already done the path that you are not trying to start on or taking right now. So there's a lot of value that they have, which learning that they have, that they can, if you ask them, they will bring it to you. They're not supposed to share as a coach. As a guide, as a mentor, yes, mentors are supposed to also tell you what to do and all that stuff, or what can be done. They bring the experience as well. But as a coach and a mentor, you need to have one, formal or informal, doesn't matter. I think it is, and as I said, that the career is the single most biggest investment or a revenue generator that you have. Career is revenue, because every month you are getting money. Where else do you get it? Maybe if you're a millionaire and you already are, you would not be working. You'll not worry about the career then. But people who you're getting a salary, you're getting if you're an entrepreneur, you're getting your revenues, you're getting your funding. So all of this is because based on your career. So it's a revenue generator. Right? If that's a revenue generator, you need to put some costs into it. A lot of people, as you said, they think, oh, I don't need a coach, I can figure it out myself. Yes, you can. You have to be super smart to figure it out. But if you really need support, and you need constantly, or not constantly, but once in a while, you do need someone to sound out things. If you're going the right direction, you need somebody to have a discussion with, because discussions is not about somebody giving you, it also is about you clarifying your thoughts. Right. So by expressing yourself, you're also clarifying your own thoughts, right? And then sometimes you figure out that there is some avenues that I have not looked into, and they come out as well. So that is what a coach does, and I think it's important that you get your coach. I've had mentors, I've had coaches, and I mean, it has been super valuable for me. Right. As I moved from a different level, and I do now coaching as well, and I see the aha moments in a lot of people's eye when they have been thinking about something, but then there's a new dimension that is added to them just because of this. And I have not given them any suggestions. It has come from them. A lot of time I do share my experience and say, okay, this happened, this is how I did it. It may not be applicable to you, but then say, oh yeah, you did. I think we can do something like that, not exactly like that. Right. Right. So those are the discussions that happen, and that's where the coaches and the mentors are important part. Get a good one, someone you trust, doesn't have to be a certified, right? But
Anybody in your organization or otherwise
yeah,
that you trust.
preferably not your boss, because there is a
Okay.
inherent conflict of interest there. So because a boss is telling you things because it's meant for the organization. So yeah, so that's the way it is. So you get to have a coach, somebody you trust. Your ex-boss will do, but that's fine.
And this article that you have written is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Honestly, doesn't matter where you are in your career, you have to go through this
Yes.
article.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.